I urge you to go and see Sound of Freedom in theaters and support the movie, support the cause. And when I tell y'all, I wanted something horrible to happen to these folks. Like, I wanted Denzel character from Man on Fire to come track every single one of these people down. And, ooh, Jesus, y'all. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. We are going to switch things up a bit in this video, child. We normally be laughing, cracking jokes, but this time we are reviewing a movie with a serious topic. I went to see Sound of Freedom today. If you are not aware, Sound of Freedom is the movie based on the true story of Tim Ballard, who was a government agent turned vigilante on a mission to rescue victims of child trafficking. When I tell y'all I did not want to see this movie, because I don't watch anything with like heavy topics, nothing that's going to make me cry, feel bad. I skip any movie with such a topic because I'm just that movie goer that likes escapism more so. That's why I watch movies and television. However, I heard about this film and the mission they had to get folks out at the movie theater. So I was there opening day, and yeah, the movie was tough. And I feel like for such a tragic, disgusting topic, they really handled it very well. It felt like they handled it delicately. Nothing was graphic, explicit, anything along those lines, but child, it ain't even need to be. Like, you can fill in the gaps, and it's just tragic all around. But actually at the end of just such a depressive topic, it actually feels a bit hopeful and inspiring, actually. So I'm going to be giving you guys a spoiler-filled review. I will say the movie is definitely worth the watch. It is a very well put together movie, very well made movie, and it is definitely a cause that everyone should be aware of. At the end of the movie, they have a post-credit scene from our star actor, and he's giving a passionate statement of how they are aiming for this movie to be the equivalent of Uncle Tom's Cabin, which spotlighted slavery for people to really understand the reality of slavery. And they want to highlight the reality of modern day slavery, where we literally have millions of kids in slavery currently. And y'all, why? Any freaking statistic of something terrible, the U.S. got to be number one, child. They gave a statistic that the U.S. is the number one consumer when it comes to child trafficking stuff. And I'm just like, of course it's America. Like, of course it's us. Of course it's us. But that is why we need to stand up and really do something about this and fight for all children. At the top of the movie, we have a collage of what looks like surveillance video of children being snatched. My God. Like, I was like, oh, hell no. Like, I wanted to walk out the theater. Like, I was like, I can't take it. Like, people just snatching little bitty kids. And I am just so, I do not understand. I just don't understand how people hurt kids. Like, really, it just baffles me. And the central story follows Tim Ballard, who is played by my guy from Angel Eyes and Unknown. I can never pronounce his last name. Jim Cavell, I think that's how you pronounce his last name, but very accomplished actor. He played Jesus. He always just gives a stellar performance. And it follows him as an agent for the government, and he arrests consumers of child I don't know if I can even say the word on YouTube. Like, he arrests pedophiles. I'll just use that. Who, look at graphic videos and pictures of kids. I'll say it like that. I won't use the word. But we end up seeing him and his team take someone down. And child, when I tell you, the guy at the end, he like quits. He's like, I can't do this job. Like, how do you do this? And the guy, the agent Tim Ballard, he doesn't just arrest folks. He has to look at the freaking video and jot down notes. Nah, yeah, I can't do that. I can't do that. I arrest people, but I can't look at the videos. But the guy who says, I just cannot do this, he ends up asking Tim Ballard, like, how many of these pedophiles have you arrested? And he's like, 288. And how many kids have you rescued? Silence. And we actually end up having that pretty much spark Tim Ballard. So the pedophile he arrested, he pretends to be like he is, right? And he cons him into selling him a child. And he ends up, arresting him for more stuff, and then being able to arrest the guy who he's supposed to be getting the child from and rescuing this child, right? And come to find out that a part of our central story is his brother and sister. And this woman shows up to the little girl's house, and this disgusted me so much. Like, you just can't believe a woman would be a part of this. And I feel like she comes to the dad to say, oh, like the daughter likes to sing. Oh, we have this talent thing that we're doing. And I feel like if it was a man sitting in his living room, he likely would have never let his kids go. He wouldn't have given the man the time of day. But you are more likely to let your guard down when it's a woman. Child, you can't trust women. You can't trust men. You just can't trust folks. But you really are like more likely to let your guard down because it's a woman. And I felt sick. Like, I just can't even believe a woman would be involved in this. But like, I can believe it, but you know what I mean. So the dad rides to take his kids to go do this like audition or whatever, because the little girl also has a little brother. And he takes his kids, and it's a room full of other kids. But the lady ends up telling the dad, oh, no stage parents allowed inside. Come back and get your kids at 7:00. Now look, child, before the movie, I was like, nah, I stand outside the door, but I'm not completely leaving my kids. After the movie, I'm sitting here like, baby, I'm gonna have to be in the damn room. Like, I'm not even standing outside the door. Because before the movie, I'm like, child, I stand outside the door, but I'm not leaving my child. Like, he straight up left the building, like, went the hell damn home. And I'm just like, oh, hell no. But yeah, now after the movie, I'm not even leaving the room. Whatever my child got an audition to do, babe, I'm finna be right there. So, of course, the lady ends up having the kids take these pictures, unbuttoning their top shirt, putting lipstick on the kids. And I just feel like, I don't care how the hell you dress kids up, how the hell you tell them to pose. I just feel like you cannot sexualize a kid in my eyes. Like, a kid is a kid is a kid is a kid. Like, a child is a child. Like, I don't care what you do. But she's obviously trying to have them take pictures. They're not explicit photos by any means, but she wants the girl to like touch her lip and fiddle with her hair, like unbuttoning the little boy's top button. She wants to get, kind of quote unquote seductive pictures. So the dad ends up coming back to pick up his kids, and of course, ain't nan person in sight. So the little boy, the brother, that is the little boy that Tim Ballard first rescues. And he pretty much was kind of done. He wanted to just get this kid, but that is not technically his job, right? So when he gets the little boy and he's talking to the kid, and y'all, I was so upset because I was hoping he would rescue the brother and sister before anything happened to them. But of course, that's not reality. At this point, the little boy had been missing for 3 months. And the doctor tells Tim Ballard that there's signs that the little boy has been abused. And it just gutted me in my heart. Like, damn it, why couldn't you get to them before anything happened? But the little boy ends up saying, like, can you rescue my sister? And, y'all, I thought the movie was going to end and they was going to like pop something on the screen saying the little girl was never found, because basically what happened was they jump us back and we see the brother and sister together. Y'all, they just, oh God, the way they treated these kids, like, oh, it made my heart hurt. And the performances in this movie was so good. I don't know how the hell they got these child actors to give these performances, but God, like these kids was good. Oh my God. So the little girl and little brother are together. They push the kids in this little container and move them to like a whole different place. And some guy comes to buy one of the kids. He points out the little boy, so he snatches the girl brother. And they end up separating. Now, she had a necklace. I think it had like a saint on it. The name on the necklace just so happened to be Tim Ballard's name in Spanish. The kids are Hispanic. And she gives her little brother the necklace that the dad gave her before he snatched away. So then when he snatched and he's talking to Tim about what happened and can you also rescue my sister, because apparently the saint or name on the necklace is like the savior of kids or something like that. So Tim ends up getting the necklace from the little boy. The dad comes on the plane, gets his son. Now, Tim goes to his supervisor about finding this girl. And the supervisor is like, she could be in Colombia, she could be in Russia, she could be anywhere. Like, we're Homeland Security. That is not our job to go rescue kids. And the Tim Ballard guy has 5,100 kids. Like, he got a lot of kids himself. And he talks to his wife, who is played by Mina Sorvino. And that's one little gripe. I wish we got more of her. I wish she had more to do. I was like, she played this little old role, but she's just playing Tim Ballard's wife. And I think it helps a project like this to have, big names attached to it. So even though it's a small role, her name is attached to the project, and she did well with what she had. And I give my hats off to this lady, because her husband was gone over in damn Colombia for a long behind time, because in the end he ends up rescuing like 120 kids. So they don't tell us how long he was over there, but baby probably was over there for maybe, 8 months to a year. Like, it had to be a good length of time that he was gone away from home. And so she is partly, a hero with him for endorsing him to go on this mission. So his boss will not let him do this. And he ends up telling his boss, like, tears in his eyes, like, this job takes pieces out of you and I have to go reclaim it. Like, he felt like he had to do this. So his boss pretty much is like, look, I'll tell Washington you're on like a certain assignment there, but it won't be the real thing you're doing. And he had a budget of, I think, $10,000. Now, his mission is to find this little girl. So he gets over, he connects with a few other people. He ends up connecting with a guy who was a former cartel member who now rescues trafficked kids himself. And they did well adding in some bits of humor with such a tough, heavy topic. You get a few breathers, you get a few little comedic moments. So we end up being able to discover this ring that took the brother and sister. It's a woman who was actually a pageant queen and a few other guys. And I was scared about how this was going to go down, because obviously the woman is smart. They have been getting away with this for a while. They know what they're doing. You know what I mean? So our plan is, there's an actor, he's not an actor, sorry. It's just like a rich guy who helps the agency with stuff like this. He has been a part of their little undercover missions. He's very wealthy. So what we end up planning is, we're going to create a sex club for members, and we're going to get them to traffic over to us like 50 kids under the guise of this exclusive club with members, and you're going to get all this money and you bring us child models. But really, it's to rescue the kids, right? But while we're trying to get everything laid out, Tim's boss ends up being like, yeah, I'm finna have to pull the plug. You ain't rescue no kids. You ain't got nothing going on. You gotta just come the hell home. So he feels like the mission is gone. I didn't save the girl. And he's talking to the guy that was a former cartel member. And he's telling the story of how he got involved in this. And honestly, I ain't even gonna say, I was finna say I was a bit disgusted. I was a lot disgusted at the story. But the guy ends up telling a story that he was working for the cartel. He went to jail. He did his time. He kept his mouth shut. And Tim is like, you could have came out and still been living a life. And he's like, I was. And one day he saw a sex worker on the corner, could have been 20, 25, took her to the room, did their business, went to pay her. He discovers that the girl ain't 25. She ain't even 20. She's 14 years old. And she's been doing this since she was 6 years old. Y'all, when I tell you I about fell the hell out. Like, I about ran out the damn theater. I'm talking about I about ran through the damn wall, like, just to get out of there. Oh my Jesus. Y'all, I couldn't take it. I could not take it. And even more so because it's based on a true story. Like, oh God, y'all. Like, no one rescued this girl. Like, this was just her reality from 6 years old. Oh my God, y'all. See, I'm about to cry now. I can't take stuff like that. I can't handle it. So he says he saw like a sadness, a darkness in her eyes, and realized that he was that sadness. He was that darkness. And he was close to ending his own life. But he ended up rescuing kids in that situation. So that's why he's doing this. And he tells Tim Ballard that if God tells you to do something, you just do it. So Tim ends up quitting his job. Like 10 months from getting a full pension, he quits his job to go on this mission to rescue this little girl. Woo, y'all. Oh my God. So we go on with the plan and we try to get the billionaire to fund this and be a part of this. When I tell y'all, Tim gives him the most impassioned speech about this happening to millions of kids, and it's an epidemic, and we have to do something because this nightmare will one day reach your doorstep. When I tell you, this nigga got the nerve to be like, yeah, peace out. Nope, not gonna be a part of it. I could not believe it. I was like, what, you soulless creature? I just could not believe he said no. But when he ends up getting in his limo, Tim left the envelope for him with a picture of the little girl he's looking for. And he's like, okay, maybe it's too much to think of the millions of kids that's missing. Just focus on this one. So the guy ends up signing on. And so now we got the ball rolling. When I tell y'all, I couldn't do the job because they actually had to meet with the child traffickers, laugh, drink, play along. Oh my God, I can't smooth with these folks. My cover would have been blown. I can't. And when I tell y'all, I wanted something horrible to happen to these folks. Like, I wanted Denzel character from Man on Fire to come track every single one of these people down. And ooh, Jesus, y'all. Ooh, this movie was so hard. It was so hard. It was so hard to sit through. But we end up getting this island, right? And we're able to work with law enforcement. And we let them know we got 50 kids that's going to come here that are victims of trafficking. We have the culprits, and have law enforcement hanging out in boats waiting to come apprehend everybody. And the way Tim sets it up is, okay, I want the kids over here by themselves away from us. So just in case something happened, the kids are out of harm's way. But y'all, nothing ever just goes off without a hitch. And I was sitting there like, okay, is this plan really finna work? Is something finna happen? So the lady and her crew get there, but they were supposed to bring 50 kids. They only got, I think they said it was like 20 kids. So Tim looking for this boy's sister. She was not part of the 20 on the first boat. And they're told that all the rest of the kids will come late on another boat. So we got to sit here laughing, drinking, waiting for the second boat. I'm sitting here like, baby, we don't have to just rescue the kids that's right here, because I can't sit here waiting for a second boat. Number one, I just can't smooth with these people. Number two, that's too much room for error. There's too much that could go wrong. Somebody could catch on to us. Somebody could be trying to mess with a child while we're here, and we can't just sit there letting that happen. And baby, that's what ends up happening. Because the people we met with, they end up having some folks come to the island that we don't even know. Like, seeing like, who the hell is this? And the guy wants to grab one of the little boys. And of course, Tim sees this happening and he goes try to stop it. Of course, he can't just act like, no, don't touch the child. Y'all is disgusting monsters. He got to play along and be like, no, this child is for me. And it ends up causing this real tension-filled moment where the guy has his little goon pull a gun on Tim. And his friend, the guy who was an ex-cartel person, comes over trying to defuse the situation. And Tim has to just let the guy go. Which the guy who was an ex-cartel member ends up being like, oh, we got plenty of time to go to the bungalow. Let's keep partying. So he's able to defuse it. The guy leaves the little boy alone, thank you, Jesus. And we just sit here still waiting for the second boat. And the law enforcement is out waiting on their boats. Finally, the second boat comes with the rest of the kids. And they have the law enforcement come up on shore, guns drawn, and they are able to apprehend everybody with no shots being fired. Y'all, I couldn't breathe. I could not believe it. I did not want none of these damn kids hurt. So they end up playing it well, though, because they play it where Tim Ballard and his guy who working with him, they all get arrested with everybody else, and they set it up where one of the people that came with the pageant queen girl, they take him off, not in handcuffs, and it looked like he the one ratted everybody out. So they pulled that part off well, but the sister is not in this group. And the guy tries to tell Tim, like, look, she not here, but we rescued 54 kids. Like, let's just be happy with that. But they show us shots of the father who, yeah, he got his son now, but he's looking into the empty bedroom of his daughter. And that's what Tim tells his wife when he first gets on this mission. Like, they have a daughter this little girl's age, and he's like, imagine going into her room and her bed is empty. So that's what they're kind of honing in on, as he is just really laser focused on finding this little girl. And I'm just like, God, she has been in this for so long. Y'all, it was killing me, because I was just like, Lord Jesus, I wanted the kids to be rescued before anything happened to them, man. And we see a scene where the little girl is in a room, like a bedroom, hotel or something, and a man comes in. Oh my God. Of course, they don't show us nothing, but he closed the curtain and you can fill in the blank. And Tim tells us that this child trafficking is like $1 billion business, and it is close to surpassing drug trafficking, because you can only sell a bag of drugs one time, but that you can sell a child multiple times. Oh, y'all. Oh, Jesus. That's what he tells us in the movie. You can sell a child multiple times. And okay, let's get on with it. When we had this raid on the island, y'all, I literally was like, please tell me this the end of the movie, please, because I cannot take it. Because I literally thought they would just be like, the little girl was just never found again, which is horrible. But I felt like the other people that was kind of opposing Tim had a point. Like, they was telling him she could be in LA, she could be in Russia, she could be in Colombia, like she could be anywhere. But we end up being able to get one of the people we arrested to talk and tell us who exactly they sold the little girl to. But that ain't good news, because he sold the little girl to someone who is like this Colombian like cartel or gang where they got a whole piece of like island nation where cops, government, nobody enters. Nobody. So the law enforcement person we working with, he like, baby, I can't go up in there. We don't cross that river. Like, no, they got their own damn territory. No one goes in there. And he just like, yo, you gotta just give up. She was sold to the wrong folk. But old boy not giving up. And the guy that's the ex-cartel is like, I know places like this. And when there is an outbreak of some type of disease or something, doctors can go in. So let's hope they got an outbreak. So the law enforcement guy cannot cross the river. But the ex-cartel member and Tim Ballard, they go in posing as doctors. Y'all, it still gets rough. Because the big head of this gang, they only let one doctor come back. So, child, Tim Ballard got to go by himself. And I'm sitting here like, y'all, my blood pressure was high. Because this ain't Sylvester Stallone, like, going into the damn jungle by himself as Rambo. Like, this is just a regular guy. And it's a whole dang army. And I'm sitting here like, please, bro, tell me you have some type of military training and background. Like, please tell me you was in the military before you was working for the damn government, because I don't know how the heck you gonna pull this off. Like, how are you going to get the little girl out of here? And it was like a long way you had to go, and then you had to go across the dang river. I was just like, how, even if you find a little girl, if you get to the little girl, how are you going to even get her out of here? So he ends up going through the village, just acting like he, you know, checking people to see if they sick. His plan was, protocol is if I find anybody with the disease, I got to evacuate them because this thing will spread like wildfire. No. Hefe is like, no, he burns the paper saying protocol. He said, you find somebody, you bring them to me, because he pretty much gonna just kill them. So that playing out the dang window. Y'all, he finds the little girl. And I was like, people show popping up. He finally finds the little girl, and he's sitting here trying to talk to her. All of a sudden, Hefe pop up to tell her get back to work. And I'm sitting here like, why you had to come over here right now at this moment? But nightfall, because Tim was trying to ask the girl to tell him which house she lives in. He didn't get that far. So nightfall comes. He creeping around looking for the little girl. He finally finds her. The boss is sitting around some fire, singing, playing guitar, being drunk with the rest of his crew. So Tim sneaks into the little hut where the little girl is sleeping and tries to wake her up. But of course, with everything she's been through, she sees some man coming in. She screams. And the guy hears her scream. So he ends up being like, I'm finna go. And I'm saying, like, God, finish singing and drinking. Why you gotta go in there right now? But Tim ends up telling the little girl, like, I'm here to help you. Calm down. You gotta play along or we're gonna both get killed. And he hides under the bed. And the stupid guy comes in, takes the girl over to the next room. Like, you can like see the room, and puts her on the bed and yada, yada, yada. He talking and you know what he finna do. But Tim comes up behind the guy and motions for the little girl to close her eyes. And I do like how they did this scene, because when she closes her eyes, the screen is black. When she opens her eyes, we can see a bit. He attacks the guy and they start to have a little scuffle and fight, which I'm like, baby, we ain't got time. First of all, we ain't got time for no fight. We don't need to be making no noise from no fight. I needed Tim to just come up behind him and just take him out like one little good time, like Xena. What that thing Xena do when she just be out? But they have a little scuffle and the screen is black, but then she opens her eyes and you can see them scuffling and fighting, and she closes her eyes and the screen is black and you can hear that Tim is killing old boy. And when she opens her eyes, you see like the guy arm go limp and he's done for. So we're trying to sneak out. We still ain't safe because old boy got armed guards. These dudes sleep with guns. Like, we still got to make it out. And right at the river where the boat is, there's an armed guard. Now, I don't know why, but one of the guy's soldiers come looking for him. Jefe. And I'm just like, what is you looking for? This is what I mean, y'all. Like, it just kept, oh God, it was, y'all. I was about to have a heart attack because I was just like, why do you have to come looking for this man right now at this moment while we trying to get the hell up out of here? So he ends up finding Jefe dead and alerting everybody, but we just make it in the boat and on the river when they call to wake up the guard that's over right by the boat. Y'all, so we have the law enforcement guy who couldn't come in this area, and then the ex-cartel guy waiting for us across the river, and the army, the guy army and soldiers and stuff is coming up shooting as we're making it onto shore. We get into our little ambulance van and they are shooting at us while we're trying to get out. Not just the army coming up behind us, but while we trying to go on the street, somebody starts shooting at us. But Tim is able to rescue the little girl, and she is able to be reunited with her dad and her brother. And I'm just like, Lord Jesus, these kids is gonna need a lot of counseling. But the sad part is they might get all of the, first of all, it ain't like their dad got money, like. But I'm like, they can get all the counseling in the world, but I don't really see this as like a happy ending per se, because I'm like, stuff like this happen to people and they end up on drugs and spiraling and just, you know, in a dark hole for the rest of their life. But God willing, that ain't what happened to these kids. But she home, and we get a little touching moment at the end because the little girl loves to sing. And she gets home and she gets her little drum and she goes to start singing and beating on the drum, and we just hear her beautiful voice. And the little brother and sister are rescued. And they tell us at the end that Tim actually stayed in Colombia after rescuing the girl, and him and the ex-cartel guy end up rescuing like 120 kids before he finally came home. Y'all, yeah, this movie was heavy. It was a lot, but like I said, they did very well. The direction was very well, and we ain't need no graphic, explicit scenes, which I always say we never need those scenes. Like, you can insinuate and you can still, you know, tell the story. We don't need to see the mess, but they put this together very well. And at the post-credit scene, we're told that it actually took them like 5 years to get this film made. Like, there were a lot of roadblocks, and we can imagine why, because, you know, sickos, and it's $1 billion business. So they're hoping they wanted to get people in opening day. They want to get people in, you know, to support the film and raise awareness. And child, that was the only reason I was there, to support and raise awareness, because I cannot take this topic. I cannot take anything happening to kids. I cannot take anything happening to animals. Or the elderly. Like, basically just, like, people that can't fight back or fight for themselves. Like, oh, the voiceless, you know, like, just leave them alone. But this is one of those things where it's very hard to watch, deal with, think about, acknowledge. But I'm just like, at the end of the day, there are real kids living these horrors. So I can, at minimum, stomach watching a movie to bring awareness. So I wanted to make this video, which is very different from, you know, the other stuff that I normally review on this channel, where, you know, we're laughing or we're talking about horror movies or thriller or mystery and TV shows. And I'm like, okay, let's switch gears and let's talk about something more heavy so we can bring awareness, because of the fact that we need to all be vigilant and aware, not just our own kids, but just our responsibility in general as a community to stand up for kids, the voiceless, kids that cannot fight for themselves. Because y'all, I'm thinking about the little girl that the ex-cartel member was talking about, who was only 14. I've been doing this since she was 6 years old. Like, oh my God. All I keep thinking is no one ever rescued that girl. That hurts my heart. That hurts my heart. Oh my God, Jesus, that hurts my heart so bad. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for supporting the channel. And I urge you to go and see Sound of Freedom in theaters and support the movie, support the cause. Thank you. I'll see you in the next one.